This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. It's Tuesday, it's June 13th, it's 2023, and we have a Monday Night Raw to discuss that was interesting from just plain old Kansas, by the way, when they're ashamed of the city. If you remember, they make sure that just tell you the state, or they say it's on the campus of, or, you know, in the shadow of. Well, sorry, Wichita, Kansas, you guys don't make the list of being respectable enough or a big enough city name to be named specifically on WWE. You guys are just collectively called Kansas. And Wichita, you are on that list that continues to be an ever-growing list. And now that actually wasn't the most egregious thing of the night. And actually, I am a bit upset with the crowd in a way that I have not been upset with an audience in a long time. And we'll talk about that. I think you know where we're going with that in just a minute. But first, if you guys are new to the show, I know we got a lot of new listeners. Welcome. You guys are much appreciated. And if you want to go ad-free and you don't want to hear any ads and you want just to hit play and sit back, well, you can do that at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Starts at $1 a month, but right now we're running a free trial, so you can check that out, or you can go to wwepodcast.com. Apple Podcast has an ad-free button there, or you can rather support the show at wwepodcastshop.com. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive in, guys. Hey, Wichita, what the hell? Let me first and foremost say, I appreciate crowds being there. I appreciate the energy of crowds. I still remember, I'm old enough to remember, when we had the pandemic and we were begging for a crowd. So that has not been lost on me. The fact that we have a crowd in attendance to react to a wrestling show. The importance of a crowd has not been lost on me. But that doesn't mean that the what chants that happen still aren't insanely obnoxious, overused, way overplayed, and should be long gone, but they're not. This week, it wasn't the what chants, but rather Kansas, as we apparently are just going to refer to you guys as, decided to sing through a really important promo from Finn Balor. They went into business for themselves, and the two guys, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, were put in a really tough position because Seth couldn't tell the crowd to stop. Finn tried to talk through the promo, which I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear what the hell Finn Balor had to say, because these two have a great history, and they're pulling on from that great history. They're pulling from it, and it was an important promo. It's the first time that Finn has challenged Seth for that championship, for the new world championship. And Finn was pulling from something from 6 or 7 years ago when they first met for the Universal Championship, and how Seth took everything from him that night. Great way to start a story when you already have a 7-year backstory. Great way to start something. And unfortunately, the crowd in Wichita, Kansas, decided to go into business for themselves and sing Seth Rollins' song, at least the whoa part, okay? It was fun at first. You expected it first. Usually the crowd dies down and everyone sits down and goes, okay, well, we had fun, but let's hear what these guys actually have to say. It was not cool. It was annoying as F, okay? Sitting at home, I'm thinking to myself, man, first of all, shut the hell up, number one. Number two, I feel bad for Finn and Seth here because they're both put in a tough spot. Again, Seth can't tell them to be quiet. And also Finn, if he draws attention to it, we'll just get more of a reaction. So he did what he tried to do. He did the only thing he could do and try to talk through it. And that's usually when the crowd goes, okay, everybody shut up. I want to hear what they're saying. That didn't happen. I don't remember the last time that happened. I mean, outside of Dominic's regular promos every week that people boo him off the mic. And it's difficult to get mad at a hot crowd. But just because they're a hot crowd doesn't mean that everything they do and react to is good for the show. And it was bad for the show. I hope next week, two things. One, Finn gets a redo, whether they don't want to risk it in front of a live crowd with if Seth's in the ring, or maybe they just bring maybe they bring Finn out solo, or maybe Finn does something pre-taped. That's probably the safest road to get us to where we need to be, because that was a complete stomp of the promo. I mean, the crowd stomped all over it really disrespectfully. Like, dude, shut up. You know, I understand that you want to go in business for yourself and it's fun to sing his song, but there comes a point where, aren't you bored of singing the same thing for so many minutes? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to stop there. But also the second thing is, I hope this doesn't become a trend, right? I hope this doesn't become a trend like the what thing, or the trend, the latest trend with Dominic, where he gets so heavily booed every time he talks that you don't know what he's saying. That's not the same thing here. This was just people not shutting up, thinking it's fun to continue to interrupt the heel, but not realizing, hey, there's like a couple million people at home wondering what the hell he's saying, and you're really screwing up the rhythm of this, and you're screwing up the cadence. You're messing up really the whole message. I know that they're two professionals. They did whatever they could do to get through that. I'm sure backstage they were having mixed feelings. Like, I like having a crowd there. Remember the days when we didn't a couple years ago? But also, if you guys want to enjoy the show, and also the people at home want to enjoy the show, you need to shut the hell up and know when to. And that was, guys, Kansas, WTF, guys. Not fun to listen to, annoying, a waste of time. And it poured cold water on a promo I really wanted to, not just me, many people wanted to hear. So, awful job by Kansas City. I don't understand the appeal of it. I don't get it. Everyone just trying to bring attention to themselves and saying, there's a time and place to do it. I mean, do you not get tired of saying the same word for like 5 minutes straight? That's what you did. Everyone's vocabulary suddenly was stripped down to a single word. It was annoying. I don't know how else to put it. And yeah, we're starting off the show with that because it really, I don't remember the last time I was actually angry at a live crowd. You know, sometimes I get annoyed when I feel like they should cheer or boo somebody that I want cheered or booed. I mean, that's just personal preference. This, I think, on a wide scale was just awful. Awful. So, Kansas City, yeah, everybody collectively, I can say collectively, everybody was saying, shut the hell up. Please. It gets old quick. All right. I think I've said my part. But, outside of that, if I'm going to go on a bit of a tirade, and this is, I don't even know if this is a tirade, this is more of a confusion point for me, because I don't know what they're doing. And that's Kevin Owens' character. I'm not quite sure what this version of Kevin is supposed to be. Unhinged, easily triggered, emotionally unstable, emotionally immature. I'm not sure what they're going for here, or what Kevin is going for, or whoever's responsible for this tweak in his character where everything seems to make him spiral into oblivion and yell about everything like a child. I mean, he's essentially a grown-ass dude being spiraled into an oblivion, into a tantrum like a 4-year-old. I mean, I love Kevin Owens. I do. Massive fan. He's the one that brought Austin out of retirement. And I love his body of work. I love generally his promos. But I don't understand this version of Kevin Owens. It's also kind of annoying. In the ring, he's still the same guy. Great in the ring. Always has been. And the chemistry with Sami is still there, and it's awesome. No problem there. I just don't understand. All of a sudden, Kevin Owens has lost the ability to manage emotions, and it's triggered super easily. It really reminds me of my youngster at home. It's when you cut his sandwich in the shape that he didn't want to cut and then throws a fit, and then he's screaming for the next 20 minutes. Kind of the same thing. It's off-putting. It would have been funny like once, right? Maybe twice, but it's become a pattern with Kevin, and I don't see the upside of it. Outside, I mean, does he think it comes across as funny? Maybe. Maybe WWE thinks this comes across as kind of lighthearted and funny, that it gets so annoyed and flips out over the littlest things. No, that's not appealing, I think, to the general audience after one or two times. It's actually off-putting, I think, from a character perspective. I don't understand. I mean, he goes into these tirades and starts yelling, and Sami has to calm him down. He had to do that this past week on Raw with Imperium, and the previous week with Imperium, and then the Bloodline, all that. Like, I don't know. So again, it's kind of a rant, but also I'm trying to figure out the end game of this, or why they're doing this. Anybody else got some ideas as to exactly why Kevin Owens has become or has absorbed the emotional control of a 4-year-old? All right, well, let's talk about something else, a little more neutral or positive. Natalya. It was very quick on Raw. Very quick. But Natalya is seemingly maybe going through some kind of character development, even though it was a very quick segment, and what she said was, you know, based on what happened at Night of Champions, how quickly Rhea Ripley destroyed her, she doesn't feel like she knows who she is. And she felt kind of just like a human being. No cat ears, no weird outfits, none of that. It was just Natalya as a human being trying to find who she is again and losing a little bit of her confidence. So I like that. It feels real. And even though it was just a moment of realness, I would take a moment or two of authenticity over months or years of just phony. And I am interested to see where they go with Natalya. I really am. It could lead to an ultimate heel turn, but boy, we certainly got enough heels on the roster, do we not? All right. So the show opens, though, speaking of the women's division, with Rhea Ripley being presented the new WWE Women's World Championship. And I like it. I know that I spent a considerable amount of time with Anthony DeMarco last night as we covered this topic of just the belt being confusing for no reason, and lineages start and stop and freeze and restart and all that kind of thing, and why it's important. You guys should really go listen to that show. It's nearly an hour long. And it wasn't explained to us on TV that this if or when or really anything regarding the lineage of the SmackDown Women's Championship. There's a hell of a lot of lineage there. And I mean, major stars, Hall of Famers have held that. Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky, go down the list, right? All the 4 horsewomen. And that's never explained, but they are starting fresh, I would imagine, where the SmackDown Women's Championship has stopped, and they're starting fresh with this new Women's World Championship. And okay, like, while I don't agree that you would not want to take advantage of a lineage continuing, I also understand that this seems like a brand new belt. I mean, it's not nearly named the same, doesn't even look the same, and they did make you feel like it was a brand new one. Everything starts clean. Fine. It is also nicely synced up with Seth's World Championship for the men. So if you're looking for synchronicity you like things to look the same, that have the same name, except it's men's or women's, great. Wonderful. I have no problem with that. Let's, move on. The world championship for both Seth and Rhea, I from a physical standpoint, I don't hate it. Would I invest money to buy a replica? Probably not at this point. Just because the jury's still out for me. But I have no problem with Rhea. If she's going to be the inaugural women's world champion, you couldn't find a better candidate right now, because Rhea Ripley, when she came out, was over. And she got a really big reaction from the fans. I wish I could talk to somebody from Kansas, by the way, that was in attendance. If anybody out there is from Kansas, please let me know. We can reach out and maybe chat a little bit about exactly what the hell went on there. But I feel like there couldn't have been a better candidate than Rhea Ripley. She has done an exemplary job, I think, thus far. Even though they haven't given her really credible opponents yet, that's the one critique. But that's not Rhea's fault. This is not on Rhea. Everything they've given Rhea, she's knocked out of the park. They just, since WrestleMania, haven't given her a whole lot. So it's not on Rhea. So the heat for that, if you're annoyed by that she hasn't had a whole lot of in-ring time and there hasn't been a real opponent and all that, and it's been more about the Judgment Day and Dom, well, that's not Rhea's fault. So I'm more confident, though, that now the things are moving in the right direction, seemingly for the women's division, that they're going to give her a credible, real opponent. And maybe it's Natalya. I have my doubts. But Dom continues. Man, when Dom came out, okay, Dominic came out and was just an absolute, heat magnet, as he always is every single week. Dominic Mysterio continues to kill it. And I will say this until I'm blue in the face. Dominic Mysterio needs a top championship. When I say top, you're probably thinking, well, what does top mean? Well, ultimately, I'd like him to be a world champion. I would. Do I think that world championship needs to happen immediately? No, because Seth just won it. You want a babyface champion for a while to counter Roman Reigns. All that. So Dominic has gold in his future, and I really, really hope that he's able to capture it, maybe in the next year or so. My hope was that Dominic would be able to capture the Money in the Bank contract at the pay-per-view in a couple of weeks, but he's not in the men's side of things, okay? He's not. The final spot was filled this week with Damian Priest, so it ain't happening. And right now, I think the front runners to win the Money in the Bank ladder match is LA Knight and Damian Priest. Those two seem to be the top of the pack here, because the rest of the candidates don't seem to really make it believable, right? Like, the rest of the candidates are Ricochet, Shinsuke, Butch, and Santos Escobar. Ain't happening. Really sorry for any of them. None of them. So LA Knight and Damian Priest are really the two that stand out to you. I'm a big LA Knight supporter. Obviously, I'm hoping he does. But even if Damian Priest wins it, I wouldn't hate that decision, especially given you have a babyface champion on Raw, and presumably we would have an eventual cash in by Damian on a babyface, because Roman is going to be champion until we're all, in the grave. So I would love LA Knight to win it, but here's the thing: if he wins it, and I think he's going to get a lot of support. LA Knight is going to, I think, have the biggest reaction out of everyone in this match. More than Santos Escobar, more than Ricochet, more than Shinsuke, more than Butch, certainly more than Damian Priest. LA Knight is the biggest babyface of this group, and he's not even supposed to be. So, by the way, guys, check out my videos. I'm working with somebody who is helping create these videos, and he's got his own channel, which you can see in the water stamp of our videos. We've posted a couple of videos based on why I think LA Knight should win. They're nicely done. It's me voicing over some of the video portion of what he's doing. It's really good stuff. It's on TikTok. It's on some of my Instagram and on YouTube. Check it all out, guys. But that said, I really think that Dominic should hold gold over the next, 6 to 12 months. I think he'd be perfect for a champion. All right, but we did get Cody Rhodes coming out. He was dressed in his ring gear. He still has a cast, which was good. Cody chants broke out, and Cody offered respect to Rhea for her new championship. He said it'd be nice to hear Brock's music and have him come out and accept his challenge, but Cody said he didn't think Lesnar had the balls to accept his challenge. As such, Cody challenged Dom to face him in a match, singles match, regular wrestling match at Money in the Bank, and Dom said he's not afraid of anyone in the world, and he'd embarrass Cody in the middle of the ring just as he would anyone else. It's just great stuff. Oh my God. Rhea said Dom is more of a man than anyone in the arena and more of a man than Cody. The Miz tried to sneak attack Cody. He got punched in the face for it. And then Ripley said, we accept. And Cody caught Dom sneaking up on him, but had to turn his attention back to the Miz, who got knocked again. And then Dom snuck up and slapped Cody again or hit him from behind. Good stuff. I love. This is a really fun dynamic. It's a fun pit stop for Cody. I really also enjoy the kind of cowardness we're seeing from Dom here, where he always makes sure his opponent's back is turned before he takes a shot and then runs and hides behind his woman. It's so perfectly done. It's almost like whoever's in charge of the Roman Reigns bloodline story is also kind of doing this as a side hustle. You know what I mean? It's got that same feel, that same dynamic, that same really nice, fun storytelling, easy to understand storytelling with Dom and Rhea. And the weird thing is, Rhea, the crowd is ready to love her. I've said this before, and you heard it when she came out all on her own. The second Dom came out and kind of poisoned the whole aura that Rhea Ripley has, the crowd turned. And I say poison in a respectful way, of course, because Rhea Ripley is beloved by the crowd, and then Dom comes out and that's right, she's with Dom, and you got to boo that. So it's just such an interesting dynamic. We're watching in real time Dom turn someone heel every week, because Rhea every week is like a renewed babyface. She comes out, people love her, and then you see her with Dom, and Dom is the antidote to a babyface. I mean, it's such a fun thing to watch in real time. That's how hot of a heel Dom is. It's great. All right. So we did get Cody versus The Miz, and it's fine here. This was I think it was about 10 minutes, 11 minutes. The ending of the match was Cody putting The Miz down with a Uranagi slam. Rhodes put Miz down with a disaster kick for a near fall, and then Miz came back and hit a series of kicks. I think it was the It kicks. Cody ducked the finale, the skull-crushing finale, and then The Miz hit a couple more DDTs, a couple more, and then hit a DDT for a near fall. Cody cut his head somewhere on the right side of his head, but he hit the Cody cutter and then followed up with Crossroads for the win. Nice to see Cody use one finish. I know the Cody cutter is not technically a finish, although we saw later in the show the Blue Thunder Bomb ended a match, which was really interesting, and I like how they do that once in a while. But the Crossroads needs to be reestablished as a significant finish, and I think this is a step in the right direction. The job is not nearly done. It's going to take more time to do, really, I think, reestablish the Crossroads as a money finish, because of the fact that Cody doesn't believe in it himself. Yes, anyway, I've gone down that. You guys know what I'm going to say there, but all right. So The Miz continues to lose. No one cares, because The Miz is the most Teflon heel in the history of the company. But at the same time, he is skilled on the mic and can easily bring heat back to himself, no matter how many times he loses to a babyface. And it's a hell of an asset to have. As much as people don't take you seriously, it's still a desire for people to see someone kick your face in. That's a hell of a trait to have. All right. Becky Lynch came out and spoke about how winning Money in the Bank match has eluded her, and she had a good feeling about this year, and said everyone had been conditioned to believe that the number one person in the company is the person who holds the championship, and said the person who holds the most power is the person who holds the Money in the Bank briefcase. And then she spoke about how people do crazy things when they are scared, and said she likes it because it makes her better. And Lynch said Trish was so scared that she got herself an insurance policy in the form of Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark came out and said everyone knows about Lynch's accomplishments, but she won't beat Trish, and she said she won't beat her. And the fans did give Stark the what treatment, which is, I don't know what to say anymore. Kansas, go home. You're drunk. She told the fans to shut up, and then Stark said she would break Lynch's face at Money in the Bank to make her famous, and Lynch said they didn't have to wait until Money in the Bank. That's when Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville came out, and Stark was annoyed by Green, so she and Deville had headed to ringside, and Lynch got them off. So this was a Becky Lynch and Chelsea Green match, which lasted about 7 minutes or so, and Lynch ran Green into the barricade, back in the ring. Green came back with a enziguri, and Lynch went for the finish, but Green countered into a pin for a 2 count and then immediately applied the disarmor to get the victory over Chelsea Green. So Lynch beats Chelsea in 7 minutes. So, okay, fine. Lynch is just trying to get back into the island of relevancy, to take a phrase from Roman. So, all right. Next, Matt Riddle, Damian Priest, Money in the Bank qualifying match for the final spot in the match. And this was a really good match. I mean, for both men, really good match. And I have to say, I'm surprised that Matt Riddle didn't win here. But given the dynamic we saw earlier in the night with Finn and Damian, perhaps if Damian wins the match, there's some jealousy if Finn loses, and he will. Let's be honest. Finn's going to lose at Money in the Bank against Seth. There's going to be some jealousy that if Damian Priest wins the Money in the Bank, that Finn loses his opportunity against Seth, there could be even more rising tensions. We saw a little bit of a tease last week, and then again this week, with Finn being kind of in a fog and Rhea asking if he's okay, and there was some tension. So yeah, I think that this could lead to a split, and who turns baby, who turns heel. I would imagine Finn Balor is going to turn babyface, but we'll see. Really good match, though. Back to the match with Riddle and Priest. Physical, 14 minutes, banger of a match. It ended with Priest catching him and performing the Razor's Edge before getting the victory. So this was from my recollection, a fair fight. There were no hanky-panky going on here. There was no weird false finish or the referee missed the tights or the rope or some outside interference or foreign object, nothing. And that's good for Damian. Damian needs some legitimate wins under his belt, more than Riddle does. Riddle will be fine. It would not be a great look if Damian Priest, who challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship last week, lost to Matt Riddle here clean. Damian, and by the way, continues to lose match after match after match, lost to Bad Bunny a month or so ago, 2 months ago. It's time for Damian to get some legitimate wins, and this is a good way to start. Really good match, though, by the way. All right. We got the Natalya thing. All right. Jinder Mahal was shown walking backstage and ended up standing between Veer and Sangha, and Mahal said their opponents become prey before the match last week, and he said they are not satisfied because the job isn't done if their opponents are still walking. Mahal said they were offering Cedric and Shelton a proper match. So, yeah, we'll get to that. Bronson versus Ricochet. Reed no-sold some Ricochet strikes for a while, tossed him into the corner. Ricochet eventually went for a moonsault off to the apron, and then Reed caught him and tossed him at Nakamura, who was seated next to the broadcast team. And then Reed threw Ricochet back inside the ring, and Reed went to the ropes, but Nakamura kicked him to end the match. So Bronson Reed beats Ricochet by DQ in 7 minutes. So thanks to Nakamura with the Kinshasa, Reed beats Ricochet in 7 minutes. So clearly leading to a match with Bronson Reed and Nakamura at Money in the Bank. All right. Let's see. We got... after the match, I should mention, Ricochet was upset with Nakamura, and Reed hit Nakamura from behind, which sent him crashing into Ricochet, and then Reed put Nakamura down and set up for his finish. Ricochet cut off Reed, and Nakamura and Ricochet teamed up for a double suplex on Reed, and then the crowd chanted, "Holy blank." Yeah. So, okay. So Finn Balor was walking backstage. Patrick said Balor was on his way to the ring and said viewers would find out why after the break. And this is where things really went sideways. Again, the sheep in the crowd completely ruined a lot of this here. I don't know how you mitigate this. I hope the crowd coming up, and I think are they in, I was going to say Columbia, South Carolina. No, they're in Cleveland next week. If you are listening from Cleveland, Ohio, for the love of God, have fun singing Seth Rollins' song when he comes out, and maybe 30 seconds to a minute after his music stops. But for the love of God, it's not fun. It's not cool. It's annoying as hell. Please, let's not make this a trend. This is not what version 2.0. Please. All right. Yeah. So the other thing is, and this is something that came to light just as I was going on the air here about the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, it is official between Finn and Seth at Money in the Bank, as expected, for the World Heavyweight Championship. Going to be an amazing match. Probably, I mean, how can it not be match of the night? But WWE continues to treat this as the complete extreme anti-Roman. Not a good way to do this. Because they are now, and I know people don't agree with me, but there are some elements here that remind me of the 24/7 title. Next week, Seth Rollins is doing an open challenge for his World Heavyweight Championship. And he also accepted a match, I think, with Bronson Reed on NXT. I'm sorry, Braun Breaker on NXT. I'm pretty sure on that. Like, this is the 24/7 title rebranded in a way. Because on one hand, it's not going to be treated as it's kind of a comedy let me up segment on WWE television where they're running in single file all the time, hiding in dumpsters and all that. But they're telling us that Seth is going to defend it anytime, anywhere. That's exactly how the 24/7 title is framed, right? He'll fight that person who carries the belt has to fight anytime, anywhere. So that the value of the 24/7 title is rock bottom because it's a title that anyone could have, anyone's qualified for. We had celebrities win it. We've had, just ridiculous people win it that have no business winning it. Peter Rosenberg, all that, right? And that's the point of the belt. I mean, it's a joke of a championship. It's meant to be what it is. But I don't want any elements of that bleeding into a championship that we are told is supposed to be on equal footing with Roman Reigns' belt. Defending it all the time, allowing anybody to get a chance at this championship devalues what you're carrying, because what you are telling us is anyone is qualified for this at any point. Anyone. You don't even have to earn it. All you have to do is just say you want a match with me, and sure, I'll put the match on the line, or I'll put the belt on the line. It's preposterous. It's embarrassing. It's frustrating. And the thing is, I love Seth as champion. He should be the one carrying it. It's WWE, whoever has been in charge of how they manage baby faces when they become champion, needs to have a reality check. And that reality check is, you want to make sure that you respect the championship first and foremost. You're not doing that by allowing and telling everyone at home and everyone in the locker room, yeah, sure, anyone can compete for this. You don't have to earn it. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. The whole earn thing has, it's kind of gone by the wayside when they get a babyface champion, because they're more concerned and totally blinded by, well, we got to make sure they're a fighting champion. They'll fight anybody, anytime. Well, that's fine. But that doesn't mean they put the championship on the line. If they want to, not back down from anybody and fight them, fine. But why do they Why is it a package deal? Why do we have to always have them accept every title challenge that is thrown at them? And now you're telling us it's anytime, anywhere. Seth is having, he's going to be having now 2 championship defenses, perhaps 3, before even the event at Money in the Bank. Like, what? And it also devalues when you see a championship match. It devalues the importance that those used to hold themselves, just as a whole. When they just, all right. I think I've said enough there. All right, let's move on. So we've got Shayna Baszler with Ronda versus Raquel Rodriguez. This match was very quick, 2 minutes or so. And Rodriguez, at the end of the match, put Baszler down with a clothesline. Rodriguez then threw a series of kicks to Baszler's hamstring and then hit the twisting senton. Rousey climbed onto the apron, and then Rodriguez set up for a powerbomb and released it when she spotted Rousey climbing onto the apron. Rodriguez grabbed Rousey. Baszler rolled up Rodriguez and got the pin while Rousey added leverage. Kind of your, standard heel finish. Putting the heat on Ronda and Shayna to have to cheat to beat Raquel. Even though Raquel screams heel, screaming. I mean, it's screaming at the top of its lungs. Make me a heel, please. I'll still go along with this babyface run because I dislike Ronda Rousey so much that, really doesn't matter who opposes her to me. But fine. Like, I mean, I don't know what to say about this. It was a couple minutes long. Having Rodriguez lose here made sense. But it was a very quick match when I don't think it needed to be. I mean, this match could have gone a little bit longer here with Raquel and Shayna, who could have put on at least a 10, 11 minute match or so, right? No doubt about it. All right. So Chad Gable with Maxine Dupree versus Eric with Valhalla and Ivar. Even faster of a match. This was under 2 minutes. This was Valhalla charging Dupree, who took her down with an arm drag, and then in the ring, Gable hit a sunset flip on Eric and pinned him. So, I'm not understanding why they have completely squeezed all the value out of the Viking Raiders repackage. They did some video revamps of them sitting around a campfire and chanting or something, throwing objects in a fire. I don't know, some kind of ceremonial repackage. I'm not sure. Then they come back and they're beating everyone with their shields. You remember that? I mean, just like viciously beating people down, and they got kind of rebranded music, made their costumes look a little bit more authentic and badass. Yeah, and then they just stopped winning matches, and now they're perpetual losers, and they have completely undone all of the good that they did do over the last several months, and it's weird, especially for a tag team division that desperately needs credible tag teams. It's weird. I don't like it. The Viking Raiders did have something, while Valhalla is, to me, she's just kind of a house plant. She's there. She's not doing much. You only know she's there when the announcers remind you that she's there. But I just don't understand why they have completely undone all the good for the Viking Raiders. So, all right. Let's see here. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Gunther and Kaiser for the Undisputed Tag Team Titles. Boy, long match here, nearly 20 minutes, and really good. I mean, these foreign men continue to kill it every time that they work together, and there was no doubt about the finish of this match. There's no doubt that Kevin and Sami were going to win this, but it's also still a credit to Kaiser and to Gunther himself for, of course, putting on such a really fun, well-executed match. And some of the spots were Zayn hitting an exploder suplex on Kaiser, and then Zayn setting up for his finish, but Gunther pulled him to the floor. Zayn avoided the big chop, who hit the ring post, and Zayn got back in the ring, and Gunther and Kaiser then rallied, and Gunther put Zayn down with a big clothesline, and he hoisted Zayn up, and Kaiser hit the Imperial bomb. So just some really fun, smooth, easy to understand wrestling. That's what this was. A nicely executed, well thought out, Didn't feel too long match, even though it was nearly 20 minutes. Now, Matt Riddle did come out while producers and referees tried to stop him, and Gunther blasted Riddle with a big foot to the face, and then Owens put Gunther down with a DDT. Didn't look that good, but, hey, I'd rather have it not look good than have him risk breaking his neck on a steel ramp, okay? But in the ring, Kaiser was then put down by Zayn with the Blue Thunder Bomb and was pinned. Gunther did not lose here. His team lost, but he has not been pinned or submitted. So it's kind of the Roman Reigns effect here, but I like it. But I also like even more that the Blue Thunder Bomb ended a match. I like that signature moves can end matches. It doesn't always need to be a finish move. Because now, every time Sami Zayn hits that Blue Thunder Bomb, you're thinking, oh my God, this could be it. Now, the next time that the Blue Thunder Bomb ends a match will probably be in 2027, but now that seed of doubt is planted, and that's a good thing. I think that just adds a new wrinkle to what you could tell a story with. I mean, that adds a new seed of doubt to fans that go, well, you got to wait for the finish. But do you? Do you? I don't even know the last time the Blue Thunder Bomb ended a match. But I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. So, all right, what else happened here? I think that was the end of the show, I believe. Overall, I thought it was a really effective show. All right, an effective show, of course, spoiled by the crowd over-involvement in the Finn Balor promo. But we have a nice card shaping up for Money in the Bank. Now, there is a bit of a lack of star power overall. I think that said, early call here. I think Brock Lesnar does come out to screw Cody Rhodes, either to cost him the match against Dom, or after the match is over, we have Brock Lesnar come out and destroy Cody Rhodes once again. I think that is a very high probability, because then here's how I would do it with the Dom and Cody and Brock segment at Money in the Bank. You have Dom not lose, have Cody lose because there's a referee bump in the middle of the match. 12, 14, 15 minutes in, ref goes down, and you're like, all right, we're off to the races, right? And Brock Lesnar comes through the crowd, or maybe he comes right down the ramp, F5, or maybe a low blow, F5 on Cody. Dom gets the 1, 2, 3 as the referee comes to, and then maybe a further beatdown of Cody by Brock after the match. And that to me seems the most likely. Now, is Brock going to be paid enough to travel overseas to London? I mean, they seemingly will pay him whatever he wants anyway. So while he's sitting up in Saskatchewan at his farm behind his 12-foot vinyl fence, I'm sure that they are coming to terms on whatever that dollar amount needs to be. I think that's just the best way to do it, because Brock and Cody Part 3 is seemingly a lock for SummerSlam this year. I want to see it. I just hope that after that kind of concludes. This Dominic stop with Cody is a lot of fun, and it feels fresh, and they work off each other very nicely. And it's kind of a shame that this seemingly is just a quick pit stop, and that they'll be back to regularly scheduled Brock and Cody matches starting immediately after Money in the Bank. And then who the hell knows after that for Cody? I mean, that's even more of the question, right? But overall, guys, enjoy the Monday Night Raw. I hope you did too. And if you were in attendance for Raw in Kansas, the good old Game of Thrones reference, shame. All right. Those of you that watch Game of Thrones know what I'm talking about. Those that didn't are like, what's this dude talking about? All right. I'm very tired, guys. It's late where I'm at. So I'm going to wrap up the show here. But if you want to go ad free, you can do that at patreon.com/WWE podcast. There's also a 7-day free trial going on, guys. Totally free. Or you can do Apple Podcasts, go ad free immediately with your Apple Podcast app. You can support us on www.podcast.com or www.podcastshop.com if you want to get your merch. And lastly, give us a 5-star rating. want to really help us, give us a 5-star rating. Tell a friend about us. I think that's also a great way to grow the show. Thanks so much for everybody for listening. I do appreciate it. Tomorrow I'll be back with the mailbag. So if you want to contribute, hit us up, mailbag@wwepodcast.com. Until then, guys, take care, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to wwepodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.